Hi, in this video we're going to cover products to avoid. This is if you want to save yourself a lot of trouble further down the line. Okay, so just briefly, electronics, seasonal, high competition, for example, something like silicon, patented, stuff with legal issues, heavy, big or complex products, and kind of weight loss, products that claim to do magic things, trending products as well. So I'm just going to show you some examples in this video. So something like a toaster seems relatively simple, yet it needs dozens and dozens of different electronic certificates, testing. If you want to change the design at all, then it requires hundreds of thousands of dollars of tooling to be able to change and create a new design. There's so many things that can go wrong with this. You've got possible liability claims. What if it catches fire? You know, what if something goes wrong? What if someone gets electrocuted? Just avoid electronics altogether at the start, because it's a little bit more complicated. There's testing requirements. If you're not an engineer, how do you know it's good quality? Whereas with something like a table mat, a motorbike cover, a tent, tarp that goes under the tent, a camping bed, you can touch and feel and know it's good. But with electronics, there's other things that you need to check, which maybe you can't because you're not a qualified electrical engineer, for example. If you are, different story. Maybe you can consider doing these kind of products and you have an advantage in that area. But for any newbie, I would 100% avoid anything like this. Next one. Okay, so high competition products. Anything made of silicon is usually pretty high competition. So you just need to double check and be careful. Why? Because it's such a simple item. It's just made by machine. It's super cheap. So like, for example, these silicone rings, it cost not even a cent each, but yet they sell for, $12, $15, $20 sometimes. So you need to be really, really careful when going into something high competition or made of something like silicone, because, like silicone barbecue gloves is another one. This is not only is it silicone, but it's also seasonal. So this is a very popular item for many newbies. Can see 5,000 reviews. I mean, it sells well, but it is very, very competitive because it is just made by machine and very, very simple to make. So anything with silicone, avoid. Next one, seasonal. So you want to have a think through and ask yourself, is this item only going to be bought at certain times of year? Something like this silicone barbecue glove maybe sells really well in summer and then doesn't sell well at all over Christmas. So basically, you've got a big stock management issue because you've got to order in 20,000 units for summer. If they don't all sell, you're left holding 10,000 units in stock all year until the following year, which you have to pay for, basically. Same for something like Christmas lights. It will only sell in the weeks coming up to Christmas, and then after that, you're basically stuck on this stock all year round. So I'll show you in a separate video how to verify the trend and seasonality using Google Trends. You definitely want to check whether the item is seasonal or not, and avoid seasonal if you can. I did have some seasonal products in my range, but I also had many stable all year round products too, and I had other products that spiked 2 or 3 times during the year, but the rest of the time sold pretty well too. So there was never a point where there was not cash flow coming in, because the other products brought in cash flow and covered the cost of carrying the seasonal products when it wasn't in season. Anything where it says patent pending, patent approved, US patent, just avoid. There may be legal issues. Even if it's pending, this kind of person might decide to take you to court for selling something similar, try to sue you, even though they haven't been granted the patent yet. If it does come through later, they can retroactively sue you for selling the same item. So just avoid anything where it says patent pending, patent, and do a quick Google search for the item to see if you can find some sort of patent on it as well. Usually, if there are many sellers selling something very similar, then that tells you that there's no patent. I don't know what their patent's for here, because there's lots of travel pillows that look similar. So how they can claim to have a patent, I don't know. Whether that's just to scare people off, I don't know. But it's better to avoid copying this exact product. I mean, these are all this style seems many people are selling, so there's probably not a patent on this style. So if I wanted to do a travel pillow and there was one competitor with a patent, I would go look at that patent and find out why they have it. Why is this one special, unique? What makes it different? And then avoid doing the same thing so you don't step on their toes. Next, big, heavy or complex items. So even though it's just an office chair, I mean, look how many parts go into this. Just the wheels, probably 10 parts there. So you're talking 50 parts just for the wheels. Then you've got the base part. You've got all of this complicated mechanics, managing the weight, the leather materials, everything. It's big, it's heavy, it's kind of complicated, many moving parts. This one's simpler, yes. Maybe this is something you might consider doing, but something like this you can see is very intricate and very hard to get the quality right up there. Whereas this seems to be padding on a simple frame. Maybe it's more doable, but at the same time, look at the reviews. The quality is down there because it looks kind of cheap and not well made, whereas the quality of this is a bit higher. But again, I would say try to avoid big heavy items for your first product. Just start with something relatively small and light in the standard size for Amazon, not oversized, because it just means you can air freight it in, you can get going faster. Then for your second or third product, yes, you can move to something bigger and more complicated once you have the confidence that you know what you're doing. The first product, you're still learning as you go. So just keep it simple is my advice on that. Okay, and then this is weight loss tea. Helps you lose 5, 10, 20 pounds in a week or whatever magic they claim. I would avoid that. There's a lot of weight loss products on Amazon that are selling extremely well, but they're ridiculously competitive. I mean, look at this, 10,000 reviews for this thermogenic fat burner. There's also male enhancement pills, which are very, very popular for people to start selling. But these two categories, weight loss and making men bigger and stronger, are extremely competitive. Extremely, because it's very high margin. So this tea, $35, wow. And it probably costs them $1 or $2 for a bag. So they spend all of that on advertising, marketing, pay-per-click to get their product to the top. So you have to spend most of your money just to compete because of the high margins that these people have. Okay, and we covered categories in the other video as well. But just to remind you, I mean, you're not going to go into something like Prime Video, Amazon Music, Echo and Alexa. Tablets we're avoiding, Fire TV we're avoiding, Kindle e-readers we're avoiding, App Store for Android, Handmade we're avoiding, Amazon Launchpad is a completely separate program. So just stick to beauty, health, pet supplies, automotive and industrial, home garden and tools, sports and outdoors. Clothing, shoes, jewelry and watches is hard, but there are some good items in there too. Just stick to these simpler categories of things you would find around your home that are not electronic, not seasonal, not too big and complicated, aren't patented, and aren't too competitive. Thank you.